talk about the Champions League final?
No, I thought if we were going to do that today, it would be like, let's try to be traditional and go to a pub, good old-fashioned Baltimore pub with some wings, some beer, and some pals that you like to watch sports with. Let me introduce Joe Pressler to you, everybody. How's it going?
Hey, Joe.
Joe's one of your buds. Patsy's a big Yankees fan too. So yeah, Joe's a longtime Yankees fan and Notre Dame fan. So he's not as big a soccer fan, but he does know a little bit about it. He might chime in a little bit from time to time when we talk about that and other things. So,
Joe, what are we going to do about Tampa Bay? Son of a bitch, we can't beat them with a broom.
You know, Tampa Bay, I think, just has a good farm team, but at the same time, I think the Yankees will overall come out in the playoffs and win.
They're killing me. They're killing me. I was so happy it was rained out yesterday.
Yeah, I still like the idea that the Yankees are still in first place over the Mets. I mean, over the Red Sox, though.
Yeah, well, yeah, that just anytime you're better than the Red Sox, it's a good year.
Yeah. 60 games. Yep. Yep.
What do we play them, like 40 out of our 60 games?
That's actually, yeah, you're right, we do.
It's ridiculous how many times did they do that?
I don't know why they did that this year. I think we should have played the Orioles more than Tampa Bay.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Given that you could have seen more games if they played before. Well, it's conceivable, not really.
You're not good anymore.
Well, I have MLB TV, and I also have DirecTV All Sports package. So
you're pretty well set. Yeah, I have the MLB package, and between that and a good VPN, I can get all my Yankees games and my Pirates games and anything else I want to.
Yeah.
I almost watched the Yankees or the Pirates yesterday just because of the no-hitter.
Yeah. I mean, we are batting really well.
Yep.
Lucas Giolito had that 100 pitch no-hitter, huh?
Uh-huh. Yeah. I mean, it was against the Pirates, but still, it's a no-hitter.
Yeah. That's true. They came off of a big weekend. They had I don't know, scored 21 runs against Milwaukee or something over the weekend.
Yeah, they swept Milwaukee only to get no hit the next game.
Yeah.
Typical Pirates.
That's typical Buccos for you, but
typical Pirates.
Big news we haven't got a chance to talk about with Lionel Messi.
About the only thing we know for sure is that he's out of Barca. He's leaving. We don't know where he's going.
Let me ask you this. Do you think that's absolutely a dead issue? There's no way he can stay.
You know, I would like to think that if they got rid of Bartomeu, if they got rid of the president, then that would be some incentive. But Suarez is gone. Piqué is gone. Mascherano is gone. Everybody that he plays with or gives a shit about is gone. I don't see him staying, even if they get rid of Bartomeu.
Well, I mean, it seems that it's almost time to eulogize the great Barca team, the club that was there because of him and Suarez. And at one point, he took the mantle from Ronaldinho. And, from there to here to this point, now we have a situation where, they were 1 point away from winning La Liga. And at the beginning of the season, we thought, there was a lot ahead for this team. I mean, we picked an upstart team, I think, in Atletico, but we really believed that Barcelona had a lot ahead of them. And now it's like it's that club, that team that was Messi's team, it's pretty much done.
It's all gone.
Yeah.
It's all gone.
And it's sad.
If you look at what Real Madrid did, where they slowly over a period of years started getting younger talent into the squad. And they let some big names go, right? And They were kind of ignorant with some of the names that they let go, but they rebuilt slowly. And a lot of people would say, and I'm actually one of them, that they actually got stronger whenever Ronaldo left.
Yeah.
Because you had all these guys that were hungry, that were, for the most part, playing second fiddle. They had their time. They got it. They got their experience, and now they were just able to go be unleashed. And really, the only thing that hurt, the only stumbling block they had was Champions League, right? Because they just didn't have that little bit to get them over Champions League that Ronaldo would have gave them. Barca's the total opposite. They spent a whole lot of money on players that either really were not going to fit the Barca style. Griezmann's a great example, and really didn't do anything to get younger guys that were going to play the Cruyff way.
Right.
And that ultimately did them in.
Well, I agree with you. And where I think it started a lot of it was moving away from the youth program. At one point, I think they had 9 of the 11 starters, including Messi, was from their youth program. And then they started moving away from that and bringing outside talent. And what's the surest way to make sure you're going to play the system is to bring them in through your own system. If they're coming from outside, there's no sure way that they're going to fit into your system. And I think they have to get back to that again, is developing them through their own youth system.
Yeah, La Masia is just the name now.
Yeah,
it really is. It's just the name now. It's not. It's not the young talent generator machine that it was. They had so many good players going through La Masia that they never saw Barca's first team. They were sold off because they just weren't going to play.
Right, and they and that was part of the model too. It's part of the Ajax model. It's part of the model there, and they develop relationships with other clubs around Europe, and they sell them off and make a profit for that. But they went away from that. So at this point with Messi, one of the things that's a sticking point is this $700 million buyout clause. And I don't know if the listeners know or pay attention to this issue, but originally in his contract, which was written well before COVID, he had an opportunity to opt out of his contract in June. And if he had done that, there would be no $700 million buyout.
Right.
But because of COVID, the season was still going on. And I guess he's saying, in essence, it's unfair to hold him to that or any team to that. So I'm going to turn to Joe for this one. And just from a sense of fairness, given where we are with COVID, maybe comparing other sports and things like that, what do you think about whether the players should be able to opt out given the situation, or whether the team should be able to enforce that?
If you're looking at like other sports from like Major League Baseball, when you have the draft, it's coming up shortly as well. They've already said as well that a lot of the players who get drafted out won't actually have to, if the team picks that player, they won't have to pay out that contract for that player. Because of COVID, they're actually doing like an honor system just for the first year of the COVID, just to make sure that there's not going to be any kind of, hurt on the management or ownership. And just in other senses that it makes more sense just to have, like an honor system. I would overall agree with that.
And, I look at players of that of his caliber, and you're in a very bad situation if you don't let him out, because you're gonna look like garbage, right? You're talking about arguably the best player of all time. What would it would have been the Chicago Bulls telling Michael Jordan he can't go play baseball. What are you kidding me?
I mean, you have a good example of that as well too. Like when Jeter managed the Marlins, and then Stanton went to the Yankees. He was making money off of that. But we're in a different time now with COVID.
Yeah. Yeah. Frank, what do you think? Is he? They going to honor it? Or are they going to? Are they going to? They're going to be assholes.
I think it depends on how hard Messi makes it for them. If he says, "Look, I'll stay and make life miserable for you and wait till 2021," and if they believe him, then they'll say, "All right, just go. Let's not disrupt our younger players. Let's not disrupt Coleman. Just go ahead and go." And that's one of the reasons why you and I have talked off air, Patsy, about who we think he'll land with. And I think he'll land with Man City. And the reason I think that is because of Pep, the relationship he has with Pep. And I also think that there is a kind of a underground pipeline between Barcelona and Man City. I was mentioning to you that when my son was over there in Barcelona, they kind of mentioned that they think of each other as brother clubs, Barcelona and Man City. So that was my pick, and I kind of still stick with that. You hear some more rumblings about it now. Both, I think online you see some talk about Pep having a conversation with Messi, and you were just mentioning today that there was a recording of his dad saying something, Messi's dad saying something.
Yeah, there was a rumor, a thing going around that there was an audio recording of Messi's father. He was committing to City, and what his father's saying, or what his father's pushing. Here, let me get this up here for you. Is that Messi's father confirmed that the audio recording is fake. So, this is the problem we seem to have a lot whenever you're talking about really the European media, especially with soccer, right? Is nothing's vetted,
right?
That absolutely kills me.
Whatever we say on this show,
run with it, and they make it sound like it's real.
Whatever we say on this show could be picked up by some international outlet and say, they're mentioning that that there's a pipeline between Man City and Barcelona, and they'll report that and act as if it's fact.
Yeah. Right. I mean, we could literally sit here and say, but Messi's going to enter.
Right.
He's going to enter. And I'm going to keep pushing Messi's going to enter because my only other choice is United.
We know where your heart is, but what do you think? Where do you think he will go?
I still think he's going to go to PSG. I still think so. I think he wants to play with Neymar again. I think that he would love to share a pitch with Mbappe. He's already tight with Di Maria. They got a decent midfield. Don't forget the thing that made Barca's squad legendary was their midfield, right? I mean, they had the two best midfielders in the history of the world at one time. To talk out of the other side of my mouth, that's what makes City so appealing too.
Yeah. PSG was one goal away from winning the UEFA this year. Mm-hmm. So you add somebody like Messi and keep everybody else in place, and it's very possible that they're there.
Yeah, and he's not gonna. I don't think he'd piss away the opportunities to score that both Mbappe and Neymar did. If nothing else, Messi's going to make it much easier for those two to score.
That's the thing. He creates those opportunities, opens up space so much for everybody.
Do you think that game was more of PSG blowing it, or it was just there was nobody that was going to beat Bayern?
I still believe going into it that nobody was going to beat Bayern this year, even after that game. I think PSG did what they could do. They surprised me by keeping it, a one-goal game. As you know, I predicted beforehand that there would probably be like 6 goals scored in that game, so I was way off. But it reminded me of almost watching a much more talented version of my favorite Premier League side, which is Newcastle United, when they give up 64% of possession but still stay in the game till the very end, right?
Yeah.
That's what PSG did. They were like, okay, we're going to put on some pressure, see if we can get a goal, nick a goal from them early. They couldn't do it, so then they just defended. They gave up possession and tried for counters, and just never could put anything away. I think that was their best opportunity given who they were up against.
I saw them turn on the counter a couple of times, and I said, "Oh my God!" I thought United was a good countering team. They're like a B team compared to how fast PSG can turn around and counter.
All that speed they have.
It's just frightening.
Yeah,
just frightening. I saw a stat today that, or I'm sorry, it was last night. It was after we got done last night. My son showed me the stat. Bayern's coach or their manager, I can't remember his name. You realize he has more trophies than he has losses.
Wow, that's amazing. That's kind of like the Larry Fitzgerald stat. Larry Fitzgerald has more tackles in his NFL career than drop passes.
Wow.
That's amazing, right?
That's amazing. Wow.
Yeah, but more trophies than losses.
That's unbelievable. And he's got 3 trophies, 2 losses. Right? He's got a treble and 2 losses.
They won the treble in his first year.
Yeah, well, he took over halfway through.
Right. I mean, here's the crazy thing. Bayern, that shows you what Bayern's standard is, right? They fired a coach who won the league, the Bundesliga, and their domestic cup last year. They fired him.
Yeah, put this guy in, and he does one better.
Right.
And the other thing that stuck out to me is the cost of their starting 11 was 149 million euros. 149.
It's not that much.
No, it's the cheapest in the top 5 leagues.
I mean, that's
of the
amazing.
league winners, right? Of the I'm sorry, not the league winners, of the top 5 European leagues, the qualifying teams of the top 5 leagues. Theirs is the lowest salary, and they won 8 consecutive Bundesliga titles. That's insane.
It is. And
insane.
Do you think that they'll return to the glory of 8-10 years ago, where they were a regular fixture in the UCL final?
I don't know. It's opened up so much.
Yeah.
Look, they're always gonna make it out of the group stage, right? They'll always make it out of the group stage. I mean, even as bad as Barca is, they're gonna make it out of the group stages. I can see them being quarter or semifinalists convincingly for the next 4, 5, 6 years.
Yeah, I can too. I don't see any reason why these guys. I mean, you don't hear any rumblings of them wanting to leave. You see a good core of players there. There seems like there's room for growth of the young players. They're not fighting for the ball. Sometimes, like I'll give an example, like with Liverpool, you see Mo Salah and Sane or Mane arguing about who gets the shot, right?
Yeah.
And you don't see that with this Bundesliga, with this Bayern team at all.
No, you don't. No, not at all. Speaking of shots or not shooting, no, Frank, you got to admit that was pretty good.
That was a good one.
I mean, come on. I'm kind of proud of myself.
You should be.
Milwaukee Bucks not only boycotted Game 5 against the Magic to protest the shooting of Jacob Blake. We found out right before we went live that the NBA canceled all the games for today because of this. Question for you, Frank. And I know we're going to hear people from all the Fox Entertainment watching, loving folks bitching, but my opinion is this is the role that a role professional sports should play. Right? That whenever it comes to social issues, social injustices, this is exactly what you would like to see professional sports teams do and act and behave. And I'm curious what you think.
Well, I agree with you 100%. I mean, I think sports is a diversion. It's a great diversion for us. It's a wonderful thing. We love it. The people who do it, they dedicate their lives to that craft. And they have presented, an awesome entertainment for us. But, they're human beings. And if they feel like this is something which is important to them, which clearly it is. Clearly this is important to most human beings to see what's going on in the world. And they want to use the platform that they have to essentially make a statement. I think it's awesome. We lived without sports for 2 months, basically, to have a night off at least in light of what's going on. I mean, people are being killed in the streets, and it's not acceptable. And to just go on like nothing happened it's ridiculous. So I 100% support their stance.
I feel like your sports, your national sports, and we basically have 4 here, right? Although we share a couple of them with Canada. Should reflect the character of the country that they're playing in, right? It should be a reflection of us. So I was saddened in a way to see only one team doing that boycotting, but there was only a couple of games today anyhow, and when it comes to being able to represent, I think the NBA does a really good job of it. They really seem to have their finger on the pulse of what's going on in the country, and you see it a lot, not only from the players, but you see it from the coaches, from the managers, even sometimes from the owners. Cuban's a great example, right? So I like what the NBA does and how they look at the discourse in the country, and I actually kind of feel bad that other sports aren't doing that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I bet if the NFL were in swing right now, you might see some of this. I would wonder what Green Bay would do. I would wonder what the Chicago Bears would do. If they were playing home games this weekend. I don't know. I don't see baseball getting involved with it. I don't see hockey getting involved with it. Hockey's in a bubble right now up in Canada. They probably, I won't go so far as to say they don't know what's going on, but they're fairly insulated from it. I would imagine. But even if they weren't, I don't think they would do anything about it.
Yeah, you know what? I agree. I don't think they would either. You have a bunch of players who are very outspoken, and NBA players, and I like the fact that they feel a sense of community or sense of camaraderie with the community. Like I said, it is unfortunate that other sports aren't doing that, but you know, what are you going to do? It is what it is.
I don't ever recall a playoff game being voluntarily. I remember that the earthquake in 1988 World Series that stopped the game between the Oakland A's and the San Francisco Giants. I don't remember any other playoff game being voluntarily suspended because the players refused to play. I think it's unprecedented, in my opinion. Do you recall anything like that?
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit before we went on. I don't remember ever. I remember games being canceled for things like earthquakes or like a national tragedy. Obviously 9/11, everything was canceled, right? I think that when the Challenger exploded, whatever sporting events were going on that day, those were canceled. But I don't remember. I don't think any of those were playoff games. Well, no, the Yankees were. The baseball was no, it was just before the playoffs started.
Yeah.
But no, I don't remember anything like this. And man, unprecedented is a good way to put it. It's. I hope to see more of it. Well, I hope there's no reason to see more of it, but if there is reason, I hope we see more.
Well, I mean, we're talking about what happened in Kenosha, Wisconsin, which is what brought this about. And last night, after there were protests about the shooting, there was more unrest and more violence. I guess somebody drove in from a few hours away and decided to shoot people, took this opportunity to pull out an assault rifle and kill people that were protesting. There were protesters who were destroying property, which of course is not a good look. But the violence is a much worse look, and it feels like things are really ragged right at the moment.
17-year-old kid, right?
Yeah.
17-year-old kid.
You know about that?
Kyle Rittenhouse. He's being charged with first-degree intentional homicide. I never even heard of that before. Did you ever hear that, Frank?
No. No, I can't say as I did.
It's got to be a state-specific crime, right?
Yeah.
He traveled about 15 to 20 miles, apparently just across the state border. So there's that. The arrest comes less than a day after 2 people were killed and a third seriously wounded in shooting during a protest over the police shooting of Jacob Blake. The victims were identified as a 26-year-old from Silver Lake, Wisconsin, and a 36-year-old from Kenosha. Before sitting there and saying, this shit got to end because how did the 17-year-old get the assault rifle?
I don't know. That's a good question. It's a question that should be asked.
Right? I mean, I know I'm not trying to blow off everything else. The fact that he killed 2 people. I mean, why did he go there with an assault rifle? How did he get the assault rifle? And I'm assuming that he's going to be charged and tried as an adult.
Yeah.
I would think so, right?
I think that's a pretty safe bet.
Yeah. That was one of the safest ones I had. Lots of violence going on there right now. Lots of anger. Uh what do you think has to be done in order for this shit to stop?
I mean, first of all, if we see a stop in, you know, extrajudicial killings and justice that in that manner, injustice in that manner, I think we'll see a stop in these kind of protests and then the counter protests. Right now, it looks like everybody's looking for reasons. Everybody's looking for reasons to get involved. This is like the flashpoint. Um, I don't, I don't want to believe this. Maybe there's a turning back point. Maybe there's some leadership out there. Women, women could possibly lead us back from all this frustration and anger. They oftentimes, have an ability to be much more calming, reasonable about things like this instead of getting hot-headed. But if it's left to continue to boil and simmer like this, it may get worse before it gets better.
Did you happen to see any portion of day 3 of Trumpapalooza?
I kind of blew it off. I watched a little bit of it, but I blew it off. I got bored with it, quite frankly. It wasn't as exciting as the night before.
Well, in a way, it was worse.
Yeah.
Okay, and it was just really subtle this time.
Yeah.
And here's a great example. Remember a while ago I kept saying that these folks just think that the people they're talking to are idiots, and the people that they're talking to don't realize that they think they're idiots. Here's a great example. Okay, let's think about this just for a second. Right, Pam Bondi, who decided to go and just rip Joe Biden a new ass over nepotism, speaks right before Trump's daughter does. And she spoke right before Trump's wife did. And all of them spoke after Trump did. But we're going to blast Biden for nepotism.
The irony is thick.
And everybody on that side just went along with it like, okay, this is what we're going to do. I don't understand it, Frank. I don't know how do you get away with it? Before we go any further, we should probably let everybody know that this same Pam Bondi is a registered foreign agent. So as the subtitle says, she knows a lot about working for corrupt foreign governments.
Yeah.
And yet here we are. And no one looked at it and said, hey, you know what? This probably isn't a smart thing to do.
I don't understand it. I mean, talk about living in a bubble. The NBA is making a statement as of today's games, but in any event, and the song that's playing overhead is "Send Lawyers, Guns, and Money." How appropriate is that by Warren Zevon?
Warren Zevon.
Yeah. But I don't know why. Do they have? It blows my mind. Do they have anybody that they sit back and say, when we present this kind of topic, or we present this talk that we're giving, in the context of when we're giving it, does it make sense, or do they not even care? Do they just say that the people were, you said this just a little bit ago, Patsy. The people we're talking to, they're so idiotic that they're never going to make this connection.
I really think that whenever you're in a cult, your ability to think rationally is gone. Right? You're just looking for your next fix.
Yeah, absolutely.
It doesn't matter. That was pretty much the one thing about last night that really stuck out to me. Well, that and you know the every one of the dozen Hatch Act violations they decided to commit last night. But honestly, I don't think that's anything worth arguing about, since the only people who can do anything about a Hatch Act violation is, you know, the executive branch. You had a couple of folks get sworn in or get their citizenship.
Yeah, so they used that. They used their RNC as a platform to try to, pretend, soften the image, and show that, like, oh yeah, he really cares about people who are going to become citizens in this way.
I found it ironic that the person who puts kids in cages is there swearing in people, or, you know, giving them the oath of citizenship.
It's totally, reality TV, made for TV moments. It's just, it's so fake.
I have another question for you, because I want to talk about the CDC here for a minute too. He seems to be getting a bit of a bump. Do you think that this is going well? I'm willing to blow it off and say he's getting a bit of a bump because it's the convention. You always seem to get a little bit of a bump, during your convention thing. And the Democrats really aren't putting on any kind of alternative program, right? They're just doing it the traditional way and letting the party have their week, right? Which, and I'll be honest, Frank, I don't have a problem with it. I mean,
I agree with you. I don't have a problem with that whatsoever.
I mean, that's typically how it's done, and
I don't think it's a bad strategy, honestly. But go ahead.
No, especially with this clown, right, where he pretty much writes his own Oppo commercials.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, what's the saying, right? When your opponent's making a mistake, don't interrupt them.
Yep.
Yeah. So I don't have a problem with the Democrats letting it go. To tell you the truth, I like I said, I kind of like it. But do you think that, because you're seeing people who are starting to cozy up with the fact that we're just going to have this virus, and their attention is kind of pulling away from it. There's not that same sense of urgency that there was even a month ago. Does it have you concerned?
No, I think it was inevitable. I go back to when they took control of the numbers and they said the hospitals can't send them to the CDC anymore, and they were going to send them only to the federal government. Remember that? The White House was taking control of them. I think this was inevitable, and what's going to happen is, after you see a month of school, a month and a half of schools going back in across the country, both colleges and primary schools, etc., things are going to be undeniable in terms of what happens, and there's going to be a big blowback from that. And I have no concern. So, right, I hope that doesn't happen for the sake of people's health and safety. But we all know this virus doesn't care about politics. It just doesn't care. So we're going to see.
Yeah, you hope it doesn't, but it's going to.
Right.
They're going to have about 100 people there tonight. There's going to be more than that tomorrow night whenever he gives his acceptance speech. The fact that they're doing all this shit at the White House really bothers the shit out of me. But I'm going to sit back, and I said this, and we keep saying the same thing every time he does one of these stupid ass things. Well, just wait 2 weeks. Just give it 2 weeks.
Yeah. It's been since the beginning, and it's played out pretty much all the way every time.
Yeah. And I think if the Democrats are bright, whenever you start seeing people, the spikes, which are going to happen in 2 weeks, they better start pointing fingers and say, look when this happened. What was going on then? Where were these people? This is what you get. This is your leadership.
Yeah.
I don't see what choice they have.
No. Well, did you see the article I sent you from? Was it Falwell's granddaughter?
Yeah.
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 Graham's granddaughter.
Yeah, Billy Graham's.
Yeah.
Let me pull it
And
up here.
this is the kind of thing that gives me some hope. And when you read that article and you think about what it represents, that and there it is. Women who are in this country and have faith are looking at what's going on and saying this isn't representative of our faith. It's not representative of what we want our kids to be like. It's not the way we were raised. And they kind of held their breath in 2016 and voted a certain way, but now they're looking at things and saying this isn't it. And I think this is the real thing. And that kind of stuff's not forgotten because the numbers come down a little bit. It just isn't.
It's a very, very well written article. I mean, well written, well spoken. I would really like to hear her speak someplace because it's very well done. It was very well thought out. This goes along to what we've been saying for the longest time, right? How these people were willing to and make it sound a little weird, to sell their souls in order to get one piece of legislation passed. And that's basically what they did. And are they going to hold out and say, well, give them 4 more years and it'll get passed? Or are they saying, you know what, enough's enough? Because apparently there's some cracks. What do you think? Do you think that this evangelical base is going to hold off for another 2 years?
I don't think so. I mean, I think it's like all these marginal things. Like, I heard something the other day on NPR, not NPR, on Bloomberg. Bloomberg has a show that starts around 4 p.m. that's hosted by a young guy by the name of Kevin Cirilli. And then Kevin Cirilli is, a really young guy out of Penn State, but he's a national correspondent for them now. And he was talking about the Latino vote, the Latinx or Latino vote for Trump. And he was saying that about 31% of Latinos will vote for Trump, 30 to 31%, as they did last time. And it's an unaccounted for percentage. And I think that this is the kind of, so that leaves 69% of the Latinos that don't. And that wasn't something he emphasized. But that's a big number, 69%. So when you look at the evangelicals, will something like that happen? Will you see, maybe they were at 89 or 90% last time, and maybe they'll be only at 75 to 70% this time,
Yeah. That should be enough.
Yeah. Well, today's been an interesting day for us. I've enjoyed this format, although it was a little difficult at times for me to hear, and I kind of co-opted Joe into being a participant. He shrugs his shoulders and says he didn't mind, which he's a good sport about it. But we haven't seen each other in a little while, and we wanted to get together and celebrate his birthday, which I missed a couple weeks ago. So actually last weekend.
Happy birthday, Joe.
Yeah, Patsy says happy birthday.
Hey, thank you.
Happy birthday. We ever get together, I'll buy you a drink.
Huh?
So if we ever get together, I'll buy you a drink.
Okay.
I'll buy him one for you today, and then you can get him when you're down here sometime.
There we go.
Yeah, so I appreciate all the listeners and watchers to as well that they put up with our format today. It was a try to see what we could do something different. We're coming to you from Kissling's, which I'll show you. I'll show you the decor. Like I said, it's a few blocks from my apartment, and they have great wings. If you're ever in Baltimore and you want good wings, come to Kissling's.
There you go.
Yeah,
I guess that's where you're going to take me whenever I come down, right?
I'll take you here, and got a few spots for you.
They have Guinness. It's good. Do they have Guinness?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they do. Plus,
Okay.
you know, there's a Guinness factory here. There's a Guinness plant in Baltimore.
No, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, see that you got to come down, and we're gonna go take a tour. That's where they make their blonde, the Guinness blonde.
Oh, Frank.
Yeah,
Oh, geez, you shouldn't have told me that.
and Joe's in food. You know, he's in food service, food. He's a big wig in that, so he knows all the hot spots.
Oh, you see that? Good. Good. Well, we'll have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow. Same bad time, same bad channel. Hopefully, Lou's with us and he doesn't pull a Caddyshack in the middle of a storm. When he holds the club up and Anyhow, and until tomorrow, everybody. Same bad time, same bad channel. Goodbye. Good luck, and God bless.